Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. Sunday morning, up the lark. It's game day. It is game day, and hopefully it'll be a fantastic game day. And if you're watching the game on the telly beforehand, we've got some exciting news for you. We do have some exciting news for you. Sorry, I've got a bit of cereal stuck in my tooth. Yeah, the females game will be on the telly, but before that we need to talk about an important thing. Let me just check this. Yep. What I want to talk about first of all this morning, before we talk about Celtic Falkirk, is the fact that there's players out of contract this year. And I know I put up James Forrest and Greg Taylor, but there's other players that are out of contract. And what I want to do is I want to go through the full contract situation with the Celtic players currently. First of all, we do what we always do on the channel. We say good morning to everyone because it's only polite, because usually the ones that are here interacting. First up was Richard Smith. Good morning. I hope you all have a super Sunday. Hail to Stephen. Richard Scott says hail, hail, Baz. Looking forward to a good game today. Cammy says hail, hail. Duncan MacArthur says morning all. Mr. Quinn says hail, hail, boys and girls. Big Rabbit Venus says hail, hail, Baz. Desmond Donnelly says morning, Baz and the troops. Tam Max in the house saying hail, hail. Joseph Davison saying morning. And Richard Smith said, I think there'll be a whole scale changes in the starting 11. Well, going by the Brendan Rodgers interview on Friday, I think so as well. But I'm not too worried about it. I'm not too worried about all the changes that's going to be made today. I'm not even going to try and think what the starting 11 will be, because Brendan Rodgers will throw some spanners into the works, as they say. Peter Larkin's in the house. Took the morning, Baz. Hayes was in the house, and Gerald's in the house. Morning, Baz, and the Celtic man from South Africa. Sophie's in the house. Good morning from East Kilbride. Andrew's in the house. Love to Stephen going out, and Danny Duffy is in the house. Can you give Don Glenn a birthday shout out, Baz? Rough as after the Wolf Tones last night. What a perfect weekend that Dawn had for her birthday. Absolutely fantastic weekend. Wolf Tones and then Celtic. Can't beat it. Can't beat it. Desmond Dunn says don't take Falkirk lightly. Leo Miles is in the house, and Grab Boy's in the house also. Morning, boys. Anyway, what are you grumping at, dog? Let's talk about Celtic players that are out of contract. Now, let's go through the whole squad, actually, and we'll talk about the contract situation. Now, the most important one, I think, that he does have a year extension that Celtic can initiate, and it is the one and only Kasper Schmeichel. Will Celtic give him that extension? Will he take on that extension? Well, I think it's up to the keeper, but the way that he's playing just now, I think it's only a good thing that if he does. But then there's a young keeper, Sinisalo, that is contracted to Celtic until 2029. He'll be looking to get his Celtic career up and running anytime soon, the Finnish goalkeeper, and I think he will start today. And Scott Bain might be on the bench, or will it be Kasper Schmeichel that will be on the bench? Will the manager go with Sinisalo playing number one position today and Scott Bain on the bench? Scott Bain, whose contract's out in 2026. Cameron Carter-Vickers, and this is where it gets mad when you just look at these dates. There's several players out of contract in 2029. One of them is Cameron Carter-Vickers. Austin Trusty, his contract's also up in 2029. Big Norobski, Big Mark, he's out in 2028. Liam Scales, 2028. Stephen Wells, 2027. And then, in just a few months' time, Greg Taylor can talk to any other team he wants. Greg Taylor can talk to anyone he wants and sign for anyone he wants in just a few months' time. Greg Taylor is out of contract on the 30th of June, 2025. Alex Valley's also out of contract the 30th of June 2025, but he's on loan. Adam Montgomery, 2027. Alistair Johnson, 2027. We need to get that one tied up. I'd like to get that one tied up a bit longer. Tony Ralston, 2027. Liam Shaw, he has been put on loan. I think that Celtic won't extend his contract. He's a big lad. He's been at Celtic a good few years now, but he is out of contract next May. Rio Hitati's out of contract in 2028. Arne Engels is out of contract in 2028. Callum McGregor, I tell you one thing, 2028 is going to be a massive year for Celtic. Callum McGregor's out of contract in 2028. Paulo Bernardo, 2029. Odom Ohm, 2028. Who in the right mind giving him such a long contract? Luke McCown, 2027. And it's still got James McCarthy, but we're all under the impression that James McCarthy has left the building. But according to Transfer Market, he's still in contract to 2025. Dyson Myra, 2027. Lewis Palmer, 2028. Nico Kuhn, 2029. Yang, 2028. And then there's James Forrest, who, come January, can talk to anyone else he wants. But James will want to get that contract tied up, and he'll sign for Celtic. He knows it might not be on the money that he's been on before. Or will it be? Will Celtic have the balls to actually reduce the wage contract that he's on? Would they have the balls to do that? Or will they give him an extended contract on the same salary that he's on? And then you've got Kyogo Furuhashi, 2027, and Adam Ida, 2029. So the big standout for me is Jamesy Forrest. And obviously, Greg Taylor. I mean, those two can speak to anyone they want. They're both out of contract next summer. Kasper Schmeichel does have that option of a year extension. But when it comes to 2028, Jesus, we're going to have a lot of contract situations to sort out. Or hopefully Celtic will have brought in quite a number of players by then. It's 4 years away, so Celtic will have brought in the next. But it got me thinking. If we do start losing certain players for the Scottish quota, is what Scottish players are out there right now. What Scottish players out there are good enough to come to Celtic? And is it the case that Celtic really need, over the next 4 years, we really need to start producing from the academy? Because the academy hasn't produced anything for quite a number of years now. I mean, there are players like Ben that are in the academy just now that are being loaned out that you could potentially say, yep, they are the future. But how much longer do we keep giving them? I mean, if they're not breaking into the team by the time they're 2021, are they going to break into the team at all? So it is an interesting situation. And has nobody noticed anything, actually? Let me just run through the comments. There's been a slight change to the channel this morning. Jags, if you go on to CelticBars.com website, you'll find out if there's any bars near you. The guy that runs that website is from Alicante. Nobody's noticed it. There has been a little slight change to the chat. I'm just quickly running through the comments to see if anybody's noticed. And nobody's noticed the change that I've made to the channel today. It is a nice little subtle change. And excuse me. I think Greg Taylor's leaving. No, he's not. Heard from Jason source that KT is coming back next summer. Oh, wow. That fills me full of joy. Not. Greg Taylor must stay. Right. What are you doing, Doug? Like, no, leave it. Get out. Oh my God, yes, the trophies, you have noticed, the trophies, the trophies, yes, finally, you're missing some cups, we are missing some cups, but I think you need to include just the major ones. Just noticed that, Baz, hangover, yeah, it's fucking roasting in here this morning. Put a fan on. Yeah, the cups. just a nice little reminder to the Zombies that we are on 54 titles, that we have won the Big Cup, and then all the other, the amount that we've won the Scottish Cup and the League Cup. And it is just a reminder to the Zombies that not a hun, so I don't go on trophy count, but it is an important season for Celtic when it comes to it, because they will see their 55 disappear. Yes, their claim to be the best team in Scotland has disappeared, and Celtic are about to overtake them in the number of trophies, and this will stay on the screen for the rest of the season. Yes, it will stay on the screen, and it will change when we win the League Cup, hopefully, and we can win the League Cup. Talking about the League Cup, Super Cup is major. Yeah, I know, but these are the big ones. These are the big ones. They'll be the big numbers. There's no point in putting every single cup that Celtic's won. I mean, you're not want to put the fucking Coronation Cup up, do you? I mean, who wants the fucking Coronation Cup up? Fucking not me, anyway. I'm not wanting anything to do with those royalist fucks. Anyway, let's move on. Let's jump back into the comments section. Morning, Big Dave, a one subscriber. Met another gun last night. Smashing good guy. Well, there you go, Desmond Donnelly. It's good. That's mad that folk are talking about the channel when they're not like watching the channel. Hey, you watched the one since once? That's mad. Anyway, right, let's talk about the game today. We spoke about the players that are out of contract come the end of the summer, but also this afternoon, Celtic fans will be treated to a nice little double header of Celtic. If you want to watch the Celtic game, it's obviously on TNT Sports, Premier Sports, sorry. And it is also on Celtic TV. Celtic TV. It's at that point that everyone sighs. And everyone that subscribed to Celtic TV, you just sigh, don't you? You just sigh at that point. And it's like, oh God, here we go, Celtic TV. But anyway, Premier Sports have said that they will also broadcast the women's game this afternoon. The European fun continues the weekend as the Celtic women's team are in the second round Champions League match. Well, playoff place, isn't it, to get into the Champions League. That game starts at 12 o'clock Celtic Park time, and it will be on right before the Celtic game. Premier Sports said on Twitter, they said, we're excited to bring you live coverage of the Celtic UEFA Women's Champions League second round qualifier this Sunday. Whoop whoop. Whoop whoop. Tune in from 12 p.m. with Premier Sports Cup quarter final between Celtic and Falkirk on Premier Sports 1 from 2:30 p.m. And there you go, so you can get a full morning, well, afternoon, full early afternoon and full afternoon as Celtic on your telly. Oh dear, I shouldn't have gone to Twitter. You read some of the comments on stuff and it's just like, it's a free-for-all for stupid folk, isn't it? Anyway, what happened to Celtic TV? Chilpill, Celtic TV is just, it has to be the worst thing ever just now. Until they get it sorted out, I'm refusing to watch Celtic TV. And as long as the Celtic games are on other channels, Celtic TV, the fact that it was freezing so much last week, and it was just a complete disaster. And I love the British Exhibition Trophy. I think it's a belter, says Desmond Donnelly. Morning, Stephen Johnson. Stephen Johnson, is Stephen in the house? I've never seen him yet. Let me just jump through. Carly's in the house. KT rumours been about for years. Yeah, KT rumours been out. I've heard from a decent source. Name your source then, Richards. KT is coming back in the summer. Do you really want... Right, there's a poll. Right, there's a poll for you on a Sunday morning. There's the poll. Because I personally... do you really want Kieran Tierney back at Celtic? Do you really want Kieran Tierney back at Celtic? Now remember, since he's left Celtic, He's never had a full season. Not one full season without injury. He went to Spain last year, where it's practically impossible to get injured in Spanish football because there's not really any hefty tackles, to say the least. And yeah, but when fit, Carly, when fit, Jesus. Stephen Johnson's in the house. Celtic TV crap said John. He's some player, says Carly. Hi, guys. Stephen Johnson and all the troops. Stephen Johnson says Celtic are on all day on Premier from 10 a.m. Go on yourself. And I've got 50 minutes. I've got 40 minutes to get off there, haven't I, Stephen? So you can go and watch Celtic on the telly. Lot of shout outs for Stevie. As much as I love KT, we have moved on, says Darren Donnelly. Yes, I think so. Chilpel says KT is a top player when fit. But that's the big problem, isn't it? He's a top player when fit, but he hasn't had a full season. I mean, even last year in Spain, he was injured twice. He was injured twice during the season. And that's why they didn't put in an offer for him. If he'd stayed fit the whole season, he'd still be in Spain playing. Eating the healthiest that he's ever eaten in his life. And that's a Kieran Tierney comment, not mine. Celtic got the best out of Kieran Tierney. I think so, Carly, as well. I'm on it and say it to wee Stevie Johnson. KT was quality for us, but he's injured all the time, says Andrew. Yep. No, as all those Arsenal twats destroyed him. I don't think Arsenal destroyed him. I think that there must have been something going on in the training regime at Arsenal that didn't help Kieran Tierney. Carly says he's one of our own. Yeah, he's one of our own, but you know, there's lots of players that are one of our own that we've let go and that you're not crying to get back. There's been many good Celtic. I mean, you'd be as well bring back Odsonne Edwards. But no, he's not really one of our own. I mean, I understand, Kieran came through the system, but I think his time has been and gone at Celtic, to be perfectly honest. No point when he can't play 3/4 of the season because of injury, says Mickey Boy. John, I've already asked. Said Adam 67. I have no idea what he's talking about because I've missed out some of the comments. Stephen Johnson says, good morning, everyone. Sophie says, KT is too injury prone, so we need to look to the future. We do need to look to the future. David says, Kieran Tierney is Celtic through and through, but not sure he should come back. Better to remember the way he was. Exactly. And I think there's sometimes with players that when they do come back to a team, and if they do come back to the team and they don't perform to the levels that they did when they were here the first time round, just look at how easily Celtic fans get on the back of Scottish players. And any player, the Blue Bars. What? What are you talking about? The Blue Bars. I have no idea what you're talking about. Celtic, Keaty is Celtic through and through, but he should not come back. Better to be to remember the way it was. There's many players that have come through the system that get a lot of stick that are still at Celtic, and there's been players like Mikey Johnson, who some people have said he's had more chances than what he's worth, and then Celtic ultimately sold him. But he got nothing but stick for a long time at Celtic. Now, I'm not trying to say that Mikey Johnson's the same level as Kieran Tierney. He's obviously not. But I'm just on about the stick that Scottish players particularly get from the Celtic fan base. I press yes on the poll and then change my mind. Move forward. Yeah, I think we have to move forward to be able to, the trophy counts. KT will be in the stands singing on Champions League nights. Yeah, that's if he comes to Celtic, because he's not going to be on the team. I think it's too risky. Too risky coming back. The squad is focused. Yes, it is that. Says you'll never walk alone. Numbers on the trophy should be green bars. All right. Well, I stole it from a different website, so I'll change the trophy count for you. I'll change that. Oh dear, the blue ribbon on this on the cup. Yeah, that came from. I'll take it down. Desperate Spurs want Rodgers talk. Jesus, hopefully not. Get the blue. Fuck. Oh, Jesus Christ, you're a bunch of freaks, aren't you? It's hard. I shouldn't even mention that because nobody noticed it. Da-da-da-da-da. Wait a minute, where is it? Image. Oops. There we go. There we go. There we go. Anyway, let's get back to talking about Kieran Tierney. You fucking bunch of freaks. Thought you'd gate crash the Rangers rubble. We did. Anyway, the numbers on the trophy should be great. That's what I get for going on a different website and stealing their picture, rather than making it myself. But I'll make sure that I do change it. Fuck off, can't be arsed. Fucking too much hard work. I don't get paid enough for that shit. Rodgers is staying. Stop all this talk of him leaving. Can't do the right thing, doing the wrong thing. You've got to love it, but it's fucking exactly. Do you know what I mean? Fuck me. Some folk are just fucking hell, man. I like the trophies. I like the trophies as well. It's fucking too many folk fucking moaning, so they're gone. Anyway. Pink, blue and purple, we own it. We fucking own everything. It's the trophies that matter, do you know what I mean? But because there's a little bit of blue on one of the ribbons, Jesus God. Anyway, leave the cups up, Baz. Fuck, what are we saying? What are we saying? I can't. Oh my God. Fifers. Fuck all wrong with fifers. Some of the best players that have ever played for Celtic have been fifers. John Thompson, fifer. Fantastic keeper, went down in history and he's been known for over 100 years. Scott Brown, Scott Brown, fifer, born and bred, absolute fantastic, legendary player, absolute legendary player. Yous are all fucking mental. Yous are that. It's a Sunday morning up with the lark. Anyway, Lewis Palmer, back in his home country. If you remember, just a couple of weeks ago, Lewis Palmer and his manager, his international manager, was saying Lewis needs to be playing more football. And the Honduran international picked up an injury the opening day of the season. He's never managed to get sort of a good run. He's got a lot of players in front of him. And there's been one report saying that he needs to hit the gym. Lewis Palmer needs to hit the gym so that he's got a bit more of a physical presence about him. I think when you look at Lewis Palmer, I mean, give me your thoughts on Lewis Palmer. Give me your thought on Lewis Palmer. Fuck's sake, so there is, look. It's fucking blue. What the fuck? It's blue. Can't he have that, can I? Can't he have that one either? It's fucking blue and all. Jesus. God, man. What? Fuck's sake, there's another one. It's fucking blue, right? Fucking blue, fucking... Jesus God. Oh, God. There's one, just this green of white. Let's see. Whoever thought that this would be a good name for a book? Oh, his tickets just fell out. Oh, look. Hibernian and Celtic 2019. Oh, look at that. Well, tickets. There we go. Never even knew they were in there. Okay, what else is hidden in this book? Anyway, who thought that this would be a good name for a book? See, now it's a mess. You have just upset everything this morning. Get the denims to fuck their blue. Get all the blue piss away from their sight. Get the trophies back up. Right, let's get the trophies back up. There we go. Just a reminder to the zombies how many trophies we've won. Anybody says that fucking blah, anyway, that's just mayhem this morning, and there's only 163 people on. Thank goodness. Nobody watches this one back. And do you really want Kieran Tierney back at Celtic? 72% say no, 28% are saying yes. Morning Baz says George, the globe is blue. Fuck's sake, the water's fucking blue. The water isn't blue, actually, it's clear. Anyway, yeah, that's better. Right. James Forrest, new contract at Celtic. That's how we started the video. Anyway, what changes could Brendan Rodgers make today? Even if Brendan Rodgers does make a barrel load of changes, I mean, he could basically change pretty much the whole... Well, can he change the whole of the start team? The one thing that he can do, he can start Sinisalo, he can start Trusty, and he can start Adam Ida. I think that'll be a few changes to say the least that might start today. Other players, Bernardo could start for the start. Young Turley, a player that is kind of went out of the picture over the last couple of weeks, but did do fantastic for the under-19s in the Champions League. He did score in the under-19s. And I don't mind the blue. It's just the football team is concerned. Exactly. It's no royal blue anyway. Anyway, who's through and who isn't? Who's through and who isn't? Who's through what? I don't think we should underestimate Falkirk today. They had a good run under old John. Yeah, they're on a good run. Can we move on for KT bullshit? Yeah, let's just end that poll. There's only 78 votes, and let's just get away from it. And it was somebody. The only reason that we started talking about it is because someone said in the comments that they have it on good accord, a fantastic source, that Kieran Tierney is coming back to Celtic next summer. And my response was, is that really the way that we want to go forward as a club? Is it the way we want to go forward as a club? And anyway, when it comes to the game today, could this be the team? Could this be the team that starts today? And would you trust these players? Because when you think about players that have been on the bench, Lewis Palmer, Adam Ida, James Forrest, Paulo Bernardo, Alex Valley, Trusty, Norobski, Ralston, they could all start today. They could all get a starting position today. And Sinisalo, who has also been on the bench. When you look at it, that could almost be pretty much the starting 11, couldn't it? Because you could have Sinisalo at the back. You would have Trusty and big Mark Norobski. You'd have Alex Valley and Ralston. Because Valley, we need to see Valley in action. You're never bringing a player of his quality to Celtic to sit on the bench for the full season. And I don't know, Celtic don't have the option to buy, which I think is pretty weird. That could be your back four. You could then have in midfield Paulo Bernardo, Odom Ohm, Forrest. Who else would you have? Well, I said Turley. Would you bring young Turley in? He was in and around the first team at the beginning of the season, but he's disappeared out of the picture, which I think is a shame, because I want him to be brought on this season more so that he knows that he's got a pathway. So that young Francis Turley knows that he's got a pathway into this first team. Because if we don't start showing players that they have a pathway into the first team, they're just going to keep on leaving. And then in 4 years' time, we're going to be sitting scratching our head going, we don't have this conveyor belt of players that are coming in that's ready to take over from the players that are all out of contract that year. We don't have the next Callum McGregor coming through the system. We don't have the next James Forrest coming through. You know, a young James Forrest. We don't have a young Tony Ralston come through. We don't have a young Greg Taylor coming through. So for me, we need to get these young players in, especially in the cup competitions, and start giving them a good chance. No risk today, says Chilpel, even though the manager says... and what source was it? Football Insider talking about Tierney. Our squad is strong enough that Brendan can put out a whole new starting team today, and we won't miss a step in the style that we are playing, says Mr. Quinn. This is true, and with the players that I've just spoken about that are pretty much on the bench, apart from young Turley, I mean, all those players are pretty much on the bench week in, week out. Apart from Big Mark Norocki, he came back into the team for the Champions League game. But Trusty, I would start him. Alex Valley, definitely. Bernardo, yes. Odo Moham's not been anywhere to be seen. Does he come into that team, or does he sit on the bench? I don't know. It's going to be interesting, and we're only a few hours away this afternoon to see exactly the team that Brendan Rodgers will put out. Brendan Rodgers says that, look, he's not adverse to doing wholesale changes. Maximum of 3 changes, says Chilpel. For me, Falkirk will be strong. There will be. Falkirk will give us a good game today. Either needs to start with Valley, Engels, definitely. I would like to see Engels and Paulo Bernardo starting in that midfield. I mean, I know I said Odomon could come into the picture, but realistically, I don't think Odomon is in the picture. I would definitely like to see Paulo Bernardo and Alex Valley play from the start. I'd like to see the damage that they could do. But then again, Brendan Rodgers might say, look, Odomon needs some game time. If he wasn't in the manager's plans for cup games like this, then why didn't we get rid of Odomon at the last transfer window? He was a player that was brought in the year previous. He was brought in with a high expectation, but he's a player that has yet to achieve anything at Celtic, realistically. Do you play James Forrest for the start? James Forrest, a player that is out of contract at the end of this season. And it's going to be interesting to see whether Celtic offer James Forrest a new contract, or if they let him just walk out the door. I think James would like to finish his playing days at Celtic. How much longer does James Forrest really have in him? How much does James Forrest really have in him? Anyway, let's jump back into the comments section. Desmond Donnelly agrees with Chilpel. We need a starting 11 out. You won't see Rocky again, says Adam. That's interesting. Mononbaz, Turley and 3 other changes, says Jai B. He'll never leave for a shite club down south. Are you talking about James Forrest, or are you talking about the manager? Big Rabi says he's going with Sinisalo, Ralston, Trusty, Welsh, Valley, Bernardo, Engels, Turley, Forrest, Adam, Ida and Palmer. Time to act like a big club and use cups as squad games. Simple as. That's a fantastic comment, actually, because you get a lot of the big clubs down in England that are in Champions League games that do put out a very much changed. Now, people will turn around and say, does that devalue the competition? Does it devalue the competition? Well, not if Celtic go out and win convincingly. It doesn't devalue the competition, because Celtic have a squad, and modern day football is all about squad rotation. Brendan Rodgers said on his press conference on Friday that squad rotation will come into it highly this season. Brendan Rodgers' exact words were, the first month of the season, you didn't really need squad rotation because we were only playing once a week. When it comes into this period, we're playing so many games in a 26-day period, so we do need to change it. And there will be, he didn't say wholesale changes, but there will be a lot of changes made, because that's why we have the squad that we do. So that's a good one from Rab B. Niz, and I think that could be not far off that team, actually. That could be not far off the team. We're probably facing our hardest game of the season so far. I think that's a bit of a... Rodgers has too much respect for McGlynn to change much of his first team, says Jamie Brown. Interesting. Brendan Rodgers will not disrespect the cup, says Adam67. If we don't create a pathway for young players, we'll need to bring back KTs. We'll need to bring back KT. Yeah. Carly says, there isn't a shade of blue I don't like. That's why it's my favourite. So many shades and all beautiful. What are you talking about, Carly? Desmond on says, Carly, especially the blue wickets. Jesus. You will today, Baz. Ohm has no chance of playing, says Chilpill. So why didn't we get rid of him? Why didn't we get rid of Odom Ohm? Why was he kept at Celtic when others were allowed to leave? Rogers wants our cup back. No concerned. Score predictions, Baz. 4-0 Celtic. 2 up by half time. Forrest, 2-year deal. Easy. Do you think that Forrest has got 2 years left him at the highest level? I think so. I think so. When you see him as a player, I mean, what age is James Forrest? Born in 1991. Forrest first joined Celtic Youth Academy in 2003, made his first team debut in 2009-2010 season. As a young player, he was widely regarded as the best talents in Scottish football. He has been. On November 11th, he became the Scottish Football Association's Performance Director. Wrote, in the light of darkness of Scottish football, he's progressed to become a key player. It's just pity the Scotland manager didn't think so. Forrest played every level at youth for Scotland, winning 13... Fucking who gives a fucking... Who cares? Who cares about Scotland's football? Anyway, let's jump back into the comments. James Forrest will stay for another 2 seasons. I think he might. What? I sometimes wonder what goes on in people's heads when I read the comments. You read the comments and you're like, what the fuck? Anyway, full strength team, full on attack, no fucking about. We want the treble, says Carly. James Forrest is better playing now than he has done for years. It's always the case that when a player, and Scott Brown was a perfect example, as you get older, you read the game a lot better. And you have that experience. Now, the game of football in a whole doesn't change. Tactics can change, formations can change, and as you get a little bit older, you maybe lose that a little bit of your pace. I don't think James Forrest is slowing down too much, but he's a fantastic impact player. He still knows how to cut inside. And defenders, let's face it, even at this age that James is at, and as long as he's been at Celtic, defenders still get the fear when they see him coming in for the wing, and you're thinking, oh fuck, here he goes again. He's got one thing on his mind and he's going to shoot, and you can guarantee it's going to be either on target or go wide. You know, it's going to be there or thereabout. But defenders, they must come see James Forrest running at him and go, oh, fuck, here he comes again. And you know, get up yet, mate. I mean, defenders must see him coming on the pitch and say, you know what, hang up your boots. They must do. They must turn around and go, oh, fuck, go and wind Forrest up. No, don't wind Forrest up, because fucking, he'll go like that. Oh, fuck, here you go, young lad. Hold this way past him and scores a goal. Anyway, we may have kept Ohm now because he was the one who had the reputation as one for the future from all those signing last summer. Well, if that was the case, Gustav Lagerbielke was the best defender in the league that he came from. Gustav Lagerbielke was the best defender in the league that we took him from. So, anyway, James has got at least 2 more seasons than him, the way that he's used by Rogers, and he's playing just now. I want James Forrest to turn around and tell the Scotland manager to go and sling his hook, and that he's just going to concentrate on Celtic. I think that would be even better for the longevity of the next 2 seasons for him. But then again, James Forrest is maybe thinking, do you know what, there's that little World Cup. I'm not going to say no, just in case. Because let's face it, there's not any... But then again, with the manager we've got, you're never going to get fucking him playing decent wingers on the side. Anyway, Forrest, a shout for first goal today if he starts. Treble fever is running wild amongst the commenters today. Chilpel says, it was not James who passed the ball to Ida for the goal the other night. Yes, it was. It was James Forrest. James Forrest played a perfectly passed ball, perfectly weighted ball, and it was that good a ball for James Forrest that Adam Eder didn't even need to take one touch. He knew where the ball was going. He knew that James Forrest would play a perfect pass to him, and he just fucking smashed it into the back of the net. Didn't take a touch, didn't fuck about, just got it in the back of the net. Can we change the whole team and players on the park and walk into every other team in Scotland? What team can we put out? Whatever team we can put out should win 3-0, says Big Rabbi. Yes. James is a great impact player. James has got 2 more seasons left on him. Yep, he has that. Casper Taylor. Casper Taylor, that matter. Morning, Celtic fans. Paul McEwen is just in the house. It's been a quiet one this morning. Only 670 votes, 70 people online. 211 currently. Sunday morning usually a bit better. 3, sorry, Forest. Yeah, we spoke about that at the beginning of the game. I'm not going to go over it again. Anyway, let's get some Celtic news before it was done and dusted, and I'm going to go and grab a shower and stuff, and then get ready for the games that are coming on today. I would just see, because a couple of sites are starting to put out their predicted teams. That's pretty much what I said. It'll be interesting to see. I think Callum McGregor, Paolo Bernardo and Anthony Engels be the one in the middle of the pitch today. Just so that there is no disrespect to sort of... I think that's the... I would leave Rio Hatate at the team. I would definitely leave Rio Hatate. It's shameful that there's no James Forrest song. He's a legend. Yeah, exactly. Not sure about James A, but hope so. How many changes will Brendan Rodgers make? 4, I think. And I think it'll be 4-0. Right, give me your score predictions. I'm going to go for Celtic 4. Falkirk 0. Celtic 4, Falkirk 0. There will be a live an hour, just over an hour and 15 minutes before the game kicks off. And then I'm going to make my way down to a pub and then try and get a seat, because it'll be pretty mobbed. Midfield 3 is tough to call today. Everyone has their own preferences. Yes, they do. I seen a comment the other day that... I'm not even going to read that one. 7-0, says Carly. 4-0. I think it's a 4 thing, says George. 6-0, the Hoops. It could be a good, big scoring game today, but then again, Falkirk might just revert to playing like a back 6 or something like that. 3-0, says Graham Bell. 3-0, hard earned. 3-0, says Stephen Johnson. I want to see McCowan start. I think he's cup tied. Adams going for 3-0. Trusty, CCV for Ralston, Alistair Johnson, Bernardo for Hatate. Maybe either for Kyogo, that's it. I think you're maybe a bit right, Chilpil. I think that's not far on. 4-0 says Desmond. 3-0 says Chilpil. 5-0 today says Alan. And McCown is cup tied. Luke is cup tied for the earlier rounds. 6-1, 7-0. A back 6 is better than a back 11 that we used to face. Yeah, this is true. And it's a shame that young Luke is cup tied. Well, if Celtic had went out their way and bought him at the beginning of the transfer window rather than late into the last day, he wouldn't have been cup tied. But anyway, that's enough of that. And we've still got the cups there. Right, I'll try and see if I could change the colour of the ribbons and the numbers just for you lot. Kind of how weird yous are that way. Anyway, that's me done and dusted for the day. We've been on for 44 minutes. We are at 18,974. Not far away from that 19,000. And we've won the Champions League once. We've won the Scottish League 54 times. We've won the Scottish Cup 42 times. And we've won the Scottish League Cup 21 times. And on that note, have an absolutely fantastic day to all the Celtic fans all around the world.